magic in the air. Wands roll around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's so wizardful, oh, 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 oh. Life is a spell we know. We're casting joy and glow, oh, oh. That's a wizard show.
Here we go. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I say, oh, Wizards isn't going to do anything weird this week. And Wizards is like, hold my beer. It's 8:15 in the morning. It's the 29th day of January, 2025. 44 degrees and cloudy here at Site B. 2005 subs. Thank you very much, each and every one of you, which means we are still holding true to the promise that as of February 1st, we're not going to talk about Wizards of the Coast for an entire month. I know some people have said, well, that's dumb. Why would you celebrate by not doing something? And as I said yesterday, well, the whole point was to provide a month free from Wizards, to provide an island of sanity, to provide a spa. There's so many other game companies and things going on in the industry that aren't getting attention because we spend all day, every day, talking about Wizards. And I, for one, am tired. It's not like they're going to stop being dumb. Case in point, bam, after informing us that this is the release schedule for 2025, and we're not going to change it because we're very concerned and we're very spot on, and we know what you fans want. I'm Jeremy Crawford. This is Jeremy Crawford Jr. They've announced that they're doing 2 new books. One book is Eberron, because shame on you, Keith Baker has come crawling back to Wizards of the Coast. I don't know why. I thought he was done with Eberron. He sold it off. The other one we don't know anything about. It's a mystery what the second book will be. There's some hemming and hawing, based upon Unearthed Arcana, what we can see next. We've got the Forgotten Realms Player's Guide coming out, and Wizards have informed us that there are 8 new subclasses in the Forgotten Realms Player's Guide, none of which are new. So I have the list of the 8 new subclasses. Oh, 5 comments already. Bo Paints Mini says, that's a wizard. Kat says, isn't it always a self-fulfilling prophecy? Bo Paint says, yeah, let's talk about champions. Congrats on 2,000 subs. There's a champions. 4E is peaky champions. Yeah, we will talk about hero games and champions in February. No promise. How is it I got so many posts with nobody watching? Weird. All right, so here's the list of the brand new subclasses that are going to be in Forgotten Realms. If you want to play test them, they're on D&D Beyond. None of these are new. Just want to remind everybody as we read these, if anybody's like, oh, that sounds so cool. None of these are new. I don't know why Wizards of the Coast is saying they're new. Not new. Okay, for the Bard, we have the College of the Moon. Not new. For the Cleric, we have the Knowledge Domain. Literally in the Player's Handbook. For the Fighter, we have the Purple Dragon Knight. Again, not new. For the Paladin, we have Oath of the Noble Genies. That might be new or just a rewrite of something that already existed. That's the only one that doesn't sound familiar. For the Ranger, we have Winter Walker. Not new. For Rogue, we have Scion of the Three. No idea. That might be new. For the Sorcerer, we have the Spellfire Sorcerer. Not new. And for the Wizard, we have Bladesinger. Not new. I think Bladesinger used to be a fighter class, and now it's a wizard's class. I don't know why change it. Because they're going to do the exact same thing. Just now you can do it with less hit points. It's a fighter that can cast spells, so now it'll be a wizard that can fight. All right, so College of the Moon is not new. Knowledge Domain is not new. Purple Dragon Knight is not new. Oath of the Noble Genies is probably just a rewrite of an already existing oath, but okay, I'll say that's maybe new. Winter Walker, don't believe that's new. Scion of the Three, don't know enough about it, and I don't know all the subclasses for Rogue. But it's something from Baldur's Gate, apparently. Spellfire Sorcerer, not new. Bladesinger, not new. So these will all be in the brand new Forgotten Realms source book. As for the 2 new books, one of which is taking us back to Eberron, which, let's face it, should have been the start of the whole thing. Okay, basically this is going to be a sequel to Eberron Risings of the Last Four, converting Eberron to 6th edition, changing a whole bunch of stuff that is Eberron specific to be brand new to Eberron 2025, which again means that why? I mean, it should have just been the core setting for 2025 D&D. I will stay on this. This is the other island I will fight to my death on. Eberron should have been the campaign for 4AD, and Eberron definitely should have been the campaign world for 5e, and Eberron should definitely be the campaign world for 6e, especially with the all the steam-powered cyberpunk stuff. Would have been better choice to advertise this for a new edition. It is a new edition. We even got a quote from Jeremy Crawford saying how it's not a new edition because it's backwards compatible, even though we have proved beyond a shadow of a doubt it's not backwards compatible, Jeremy Crawford. It's a new edition. You literally say in the definition of the Monster Manual from a week ago how you have completely changed the stat block, and going forward, that will be the new stat block for the game, which means it's a new edition. Also, the stat block in the Monster Manual is different than the stat block in the 2025 Player's Handbook, which means you've already changed things in a month, because the new stat block going forward will be based upon the stat block in the Monster Manual 2025. The stat block in the Monster Manual 2025 is different than the stat block in the Player's Handbook 2025. So all these new things in Eberron will be using the new stat block in the 2025 Monster Manual. All these new things in the Forgotten Realms will most likely be using the stat block in the 2025 Forgotten Realms. So the 2025 Forgotten Realms will be completely different than any Forgotten Realms we've seen before, because of course they want to scrub any connection from the previous. And I don't know what Ed's doing, what his connection with the Forgotten Realms and Wizards of the Coast is anymore or not. He continuously posts stuff about the Forgotten Realms, which has nothing to do with what Wizards is doing. So I don't know. Apparently the entire book is dedicated to the Artificer and the Warforged. I don't know if that needs an entire $50 book dedicated to one class, but okay. Then we've got the Heroes of the Borderlands starter set coming out in September. This is where they Keep on the Borderlands and regurgitate it and make it comfy and safe for 2025 6th edition. Even though they have Minds of Phandelver, which is the 2014 revision of Keep on the Borderland, and the single best D&D product that Wizards has made for 2020 for 5e, Minds of Phandelver. Why not just redo that for 6th edition and make Phandelver the core campaign for 6th edition? Because that would make way more sense than Forgotten Realms. But no, they're re-releasing Keep on the Borderlands, the original, the best, the GOAT, the module that 90% of all other modules are somehow based upon. Keep on the Borderlands. But of course, they're changing it. It's going to be the comfy and safe Keep on the Borderlands with very little threat level to it. You can see an interview with Dracoya and the Pickle Dragon talking to the guys from Bugbear about the direction Wizards of the Coast is taking and making D&D comfy and safe now. The link down below. So yeah, as for the second book, no clue. It's a mystery. Then we've got Forgotten Realms Players Guide, November 11th. We just talked about that. It'll be the brand new, recycled Forgotten Realms, mostly based on the Sword Coast. Don't expect to see a lot of Forgotten Realms love for the rest of Forgotten Realms. Seriously doubt we're going to mention Chassunter or Ulthrar or Thay or Zentil Keep, Mulhorand, but the Dale Lands. But yeah, the Sword Coast is probably going to be the main source. I think as far as Wizards of the Coast is concerned, the entire Forgotten Realms is just the Sword Coast, Baldur's Gate. Then we've got the Adventures Guide. It'll tell us all about the things you can do. Then we've got the Dragon Delve book. Now, Wizards of the Coast wants you to know that in the Dragon Delve book, all the art is from other artists. So just look at this. This is art that Wizards of the Coast had access to, that they chose not to use in the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, or Monster Manual. This is art that the Wizards of the Coast had access to that they chose not to use. This is art that Wizards of the Coast had access to that they chose not to use. This is art that Wizards of the Coast had access to that they chose not to use. For reasons I just don't understand. So if you remember correctly, we've talked about Dragon Delves a lot. Dragon Delves is the brand new, never before seen book on dragons, where they, for the very first time, give us everything we've ever wanted to know about dragons, including the personalities, where they live, what they do, why they do it. This is the first time that we've ever seen this. Remember that. That's a very clear point that they wanted us to know. Remember? You've never seen us do the biomes and the personalities of the dragons before. Yes, we have. There's literally dozens of books. Nope. You just did a book about that last year. No, we didn't. I'm looking at it right now. No, you're not. Okay. Can't argue with Wizards of the Coast's ability to reshape their own history and reality to fit their bizarre narrative. And we've talked about this ad nauseum about why they're doing it. And on paper, why they're doing it makes total sense. It's Mickey Mouse. We now 100% control the imagery. So we get to say what the imagery is, and any money we make off the imagery is 99% ours. That makes sense. The way they're doing it is dumb. Literally lying to our face. Now, in all this, you might notice that there's no adventures mentioned in the list. We've got Monster Manual 2025 that starts out 2025. We've got Dragon Delves, which is an anthology about dragons. It's got a whole bunch of little adventures in it. We've got Eberron in August, no adventures. We've got Heroes of the Borderlands starter set. I guess that counts as an adventure. We've got Forgotten Realms Player's Guide, no adventures. We've got Forgotten Realms Adventures Guide, which will have 5 areas of the Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Dale Lands, Sword Coast, and talking about the things you can do in that section. Very heavy tie-ins to Baldur's Gate 3, which is weird. Let's tie everything into a video game that we're no longer supporting and have nothing to do with. Baldur's Gate 3, yeah. Now, it doesn't actually say there's going to be any adventures in the Adventures Guide. It's just going to tell you about the areas and what kind of adventures you can get into. So this is a reflection, again, of the comfy, safe, casual style that Wizards of the Coast wants to take, as opposed to the more classic threat-based. And again, don't know what the mystery book is, but there is a second book coming out. But it's not going to be an adventure. And why is that? Because Wizards of the Coast has informed us that they're not doing big campaign adventures anymore. Vecna was the last. Considering what a disappointment Vecna was, that's sad. Again, if you want to see the real Vecna, you just do the Dark Forgotten Realms, which I've talked about ad nauseum. There's the second time I used the word ad nauseum. Boy, I'm using big words today. That's what happens when you hit 2,000 subs. You suddenly get smarter. Indubitably. Rapscallion. Okay, so yeah, no more big adventures. There'll be smaller adventures, like 2 to 5 page adventures, and anthologies, which with a bunch of little adventures, repeating old adventures and converting them to 5e. But apparently Vecna was the last one, because making new ones is too hard. And having the AI just regurgitate revisions of pre-existing ones is way easier. Yes, there is a new Eberron book coming out. That they just announced that last night, literally after I said Wizards of the Coast isn't going to do anything stupid this close to the end of the month, right? We want, it's a good thing I'm taking a month off from talking about them starting February 1st, because what dumb things are they going to do? Oh, well, we're going to re-release Eberron, and somehow we got Keith Baker back. I don't know. I remember reading an article where Keith Baker sold off all of Eberron to another company because he said he was done with Eberron and he wanted to focus on something else. But in the great revision of how the Mandela effect that is Wizards of the Coast, that never happened. Because apparently Keith Baker has given his blessing to the brand new 6th edition version of Eberron, which again would recycle my never-ending talk about why the campaign setting for 4th edition should have been Eberron, and why the campaign setting for 5th edition should have been Eberron. And now that we know about Phandelver, why is the campaign setting for 6th edition not Eberron or Phandelver? Why revisit a smaller version of the Forgotten Realms if you're just going to chop it up and regurgitate it to be a brand new Forgotten Realms? Why not just make something that is solely 100% yours, like Eberron or Phandelver? I don't know. It literally makes no sense, but don't worry, because we don't get any more big adventures coming up. Instead, we're just going to get small little regurgitation. Been warning about long-form epic adventures from the start of the fad, but most can't think for themselves and just gobble up the latest fashion. And yes, fashion is part of the RPG world now. I guess in some way, yes. I mean, if you're talking about the branding of Dungeons and Dragons, yes, absolutely. Wizards of the Coast has made it perfectly clear since 2020 about the branding of Dungeons and Dragons. You know, that thing people kept telling me they weren't going to do. No, they're not going to do that, OGGM. You're stupid. They literally said they were. At least twice a year they say they are. So the branding of D&D, of course, is still Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro's main focus. Chris Cox informed us last year, Dungeons and Dragons doesn't make Wizards of the Coast any money. Sorry, Scott Garrity. Power Rangers doesn't make Hasbro any money. Transformers doesn't make Hasbro any money. G.I. Joe doesn't make Hasbro any money. What does make Hasbro money is merchandising the IP through second and third party retailers. Thus, the plethora of third party 50th anniversary product without any official 50th anniversary product coming from Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast, except for that god-awful book by Jason Tondo. Where's my shirt, Wizards of the Coast? Because now it's Year of the Snake starting in a couple days. We're going to get some snake-themed stuff from D&D. Cobra. So, yes, that is what you mean by the fashion. If you mean that talking about Wizards of the Coast in D&D is fashionable, well, that would spiral us into the next big topic before we end things up, which is the whole YouTube is killing D&D. It's not fashionable anymore. That fad is over. You're going to see a lot of videos on the YouTube about YouTube's killing D&D. Everybody's moving to TikTok, which is weird since isn't TikTok going to be banned in like 5 seconds? I don't know. 10,000 e-girls are going to be out of a job if TikTok does get banned. YouTube's not going to kill D&D. Only Wizards of the Coast can kill D&D. All YouTube said, if we even take half of the story at face value, and there's some leniency to think maybe not entirely true, but a version of the truth, but scrape away all the screaming and yelling. All YouTube's saying is, hey, people aren't paying as much attention to it now, so the algorithm is representing that. And that's 100% true. We had an amazing bubble where everybody and their dog was talking about Wizards of the Coast. It was a water cooler conversation. Hey, Bill, you see that episode of Stranger Things over the weekend? Wow, yeah, I can't believe what 11 did. What the fuck's a beholder? Right? It was everywhere. we had from 2018 to 2022, 2023, this amazing bubble. And this amazing bubble brought us so many YouTube content creators because of Critical Role, Stranger Things, Stephen Colbert. Suddenly we were cool. We were always cool, but it was always a niche. That niche exploded. And a lot of people made a career out of that niche. And then the niche popped. Critical Role has pivoted and expanded into different things. Stranger Things is coming to an end. Stephen Colbert is still Stephen Colbert. But that YouTube empire of Dungeons and Dragons, where you're getting hundreds and thousands of subs and hundreds of thousands of views every day, is ending. And there's a lot of people panicking because they have bet the horse on that YouTube money. Don't ever quit your day job. The algorithm is just not going to, it's not going to focus on that. It's going to focus on whatever the new trend is. VTubers and, well, there's just a whole thing I saw yesterday about what the most viewed things on TikTok and YouTube are this month, this year. And it's, the video, it's like videos of pimple popping videos. Always been popular. Those are getting hundreds of thousands of views. Power washing of carpet. That's like one of the number one things getting views on TikTok. What was the other one? Oh, any video with somebody being reunited with a missing animal, especially if it's like a lion or something, like, the zookeeper who raised the lion cub hasn't seen the lion cub and suddenly sees the lion again, full growth. That's what's kicking ass on the algorithm. Short, non-offensive brain candy. People want to watch a carpet getting power hosed because they don't have to understand that. They don't want to listen to me talk about Dungeons and Dragons anymore for 22 minutes because it's boring and I'm talking about a bunch of stuff that they don't understand. What the fuck's an armor class? And the algorithm's reflecting that. So no, it's not dying. People are still going to watch D&D. I assume all the people who are saying, I'm done, are still going to play D&D. They're just not going to record it. They're going to do something else. You have to do something else. The bubble has popped. The algorithm is the algorithm. In a few weeks, it'll be something else. It won't be power washing or whatever. You've got to change things up. You've got to expand. You've got to follow the industry. The industry, is you're only as good as your last show. So move on. People are still going to watch it. Why not watch me talk about it? Because I meander and I blather and I go on rants. And the attention span right now is for short things. If it was me reuniting with my dog that I haven't seen for 5 minutes, if I put Steve on, look at my shorts. Here's a short video of Steve in a box, 2,000 views. Here's a video about me talking about dungeons, 3 views. Yeah, it's just what it is. So cycling back to the beginning, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, you're the snake. Wizards being dumb. I don't know. As you know, the promise was if I hit 2,000 subs, currently at 2,005, if you count bots, starting February 1st, we will take an entire month off from talking about Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast apparently heard me and said, okay, we're going to release a whole bunch of brand new subclasses that aren't new. Look, here's Bladesinger. It's brand new. No, it isn't. Here's a book with brand new dragons that we've never talked about. Yes. Yeah, you have. Here's the brand new Forgotten Realms for the very first time. No. What is just you have a setting that is yours. Use that setting. Expand upon Fandelver. You had a 10-year-long storyline that you still haven't really finished. You left us hanging with that jackass sequel that didn't resolve anything. Oh, it was mind flayers all the time. No, it wasn't. It was Vecna. You were hitting at Vecna for 10 years, and then you give us Here's Vecna, Eye of Ruin. By the way, the person who wrote Vecna, Eye of Ruin is going to tell you in multiple interviews the entire plot and the fact that the PCs win at the end and nobody dies. And then Wizards of the Coast starts 2025 with telling us the brand new direction of 2025 Dungeons and Dragons 6th edition. It's a new edition because they changed the stat block and it's not backwards compatible. Just watch the episode of Critical Role where they spend 10 minutes trying to figure out the change of a rule from 5th edition to 6th edition. And if it takes the entire cast of Critical Role, all of whom are experienced role players, some of whom worked on 6th edition, 10 minutes to figure out a spell, it's not backwards compatible, but that's what you can expect because, say it with me for the last time until March, that's so Wizard!
Laughing aloud now, magic in the air. Wands roll around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's so wizard, oh, 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 oh. Life is a spell we know. We're casting joy and glow, oh, oh. That's a wizard show. Mischief in the classroom, potions gone astray.